It's quite unimaginable how time flies. It feels like yesterday when I moved to a new city to start my master's, and I can't believe I am getting done with it. I can say it's been a great 2 years. There have been highs and lows, but I'm grateful for both, and I'm grateful that I get to finish my degree on time. Anyways, so for the presentation, it was 20 minutes in total, 15 minutes to do the whole presentation, and 5 minutes for Q&A. So yeah, let's get into it.
In a few minutes. That is boundary. I will be presenting my thesis to you today, and it's titled Blockchain Enabled Hybrid Trust Management for Delay Tolerant IOV, a Soulbound Token Framework. This will be the content of my presentation today. And below are the different slides that correlate with the chapters in the thesis as well. And these are the journal publications, international conferences, and domestic conferences that contributed to the development of this thesis. To start off with the introduction, the Internet of Vehicles enables real-time data exchange between vehicles and other entities such as devices, pedestrians, and infrastructure. And this way, it improves traffic efficiency and overall transportation sustainability. And it is estimated that by 2032, there will be a high growth in vehicle connectivity, approximated to be 332 billion vehicles. This growing connectivity of vehicles requires secure and reliable communication. However, there are various challenges in the IOV networks, and these are mainly attributed to malicious entities, leading to malicious activities, data breaches, etc., that may interrupt the network flow and also real-time updates. And also considering the fact that the Internet of Vehicles is a delay-tolerant network, there are risks of data loss in case vehicles are disconnected from infrastructure for an extended period of time. The solution for this can be to develop robust mechanisms that can quickly detect and eliminate malicious messages as well as their sources. And intrusion detection systems have been used a lot for this. Additionally, trust management comes in as a solution because it ensures that there is reliable decision making that is based on information shared among vehicles, which evaluates credibility of that shared information. Additionally, because the Internet of Vehicles is a delay-tolerant network, it is important to factor in the fact that there is need to ensure continuous trust management even during intermittent connectivity. Various studies were used for this thesis, and the major drawbacks considered from most of them were the fact that the trust models used do not consider the fact that the Internet of Vehicles is dynamic and the trust of vehicles is going to change with time. And also many of them considered centralized storage for IOV data or just stored it on the blockchain, which is not scalable. And also many of them did not model incentives for cooperative vehicles, and also those that did implemented transferable incentives which are vulnerable to manipulation. So onto the proposed framework. So basing on the limitations or drawbacks in the existing works, it leads us to what is proposed in this work, which is a delay-tolerant framework that can ensure fairness, resilience, and adaptability, and also non-transferability of reputation across the Internet of Vehicles. And the proposed architecture is a dual architecture having a primary line that is based on real-time updates of vehicles and roadside infrastructure, and also a redundancy line that is used in case there are disconnections. So there are three main layers, should I say. The data generation takes place at the vehicle level, and at the edge we have the trust management, relay selection, and also reputation management. And the data storage is done using the IPFS and the blockchain network. For the redundancy line, we consider that vehicles have three roles. One is a peer, which is an evaluation target, and it's going to participate in message delivery. We have an actor vehicle that is going to observe whatever the peer's behavior, and create what we termed as an HTLP log. HTLP stands for Hash Trust Log Protocol. So it's going to observe the peer's behavior and record them in this log and hash it. After hashing it, it's going to sign it with a Schnorr signature. And then we also have a verifier that acts as a witness, in that it's confirming the same event as the actor and cosigns that generated HTLP log and signs it as well as a witness. On reconnection, the roadside unit verifies the received logs and resolves any conflicts or replay attacks. The incentive mechanism proposed in this work is the use of soul-bound tokens, and soul-bound tokens are non-fungible and non-transferable tokens, which are identity-bound. So this means that they are tied to a vehicle's specific reputation and cannot be transferred to any other. This helps prevent trust laundering and rewards consistent cooperation without any manipulation. The proposed trust model in this work employs the Beta Bernoulli Bayesian trust model, which is used a lot in other works. And in addition to this, it's integrated with evolving vehicle behavior patterns that are important for trust management. So for this, we include cooperation, malicious activity, and also age decay, because the trust of a vehicle is going to oscillate with time, and the presence of malicious activity is also going to factor into the trustworthiness of a given vehicle. And we also need to consider the fact that the trust of a vehicle is going to change as time goes on. So this also needs to be factored into the trust computation model. For the performance evaluation, the data was generated using an OpenStreetMap of an urban area in Seoul that was integrated into Sumo to generate realistic vehicle movement. And this was later integrated into SymPy to create event-driven simulation network interactions, as seen in the diagrams here. Additionally, simulation parameters for both online module and the offline module are as displayed here. For the offline model, it was important to add an online window and an offline window to factor in the fact that there is going to be disconnections after a given time. And then the trust-related malicious behavior was also injected in ratios of 20% to 80%, and various related misbehavior types are also included. Because during these connections, there is possibility of replay attacks and conflict attacks. These were also considered in the simulation. The IPFS was used for decentralized storage as well as the blockchain. And to mint the soul-bound tokens, the ERC 721 standard, which is used for minting non-fungible tokens, was used. And onto this was added the ERC 584 interface to enforce non-transferability and also ensure that in case of malicious activity, the token can be revoked. So starting off with the trust model evaluation, we had to perform anomaly detection, and the model that was used is an adaptive random forest model, and it was able to achieve 99% and above detection performance, even with increase in malicious ratio. It performed better than the standard random forest because it's able to adapt to evolving IOV behaviors. And also the successful delivery ratio of benign vehicles and was consistently higher as compared to that of malicious vehicles. And additionally, this led to the trust score of benign vehicles being consistently higher compared to the one of different vehicles depending on their behavior patterns. And this is to demonstrate that the proposed framework was able to effectively penalize malicious behavior, and preserve the trust for honest vehicles as time went by. For the offline module, for the hash trust lock protocol, we evaluated the time taken to verify the cryptographic signatures, upload the logs to the IPFS, and also the CID to the blockchain. And also it was important to detect any attacks that were conflicted and also duplicate and have them discarded. So almost all vehicles had some conflicted attacks and some replay attacks, and these were effectively captured and discarded. And the average total latency for the simulation was 1.34 seconds. For the blockchain performance evaluation, we evaluated the proposed pure chain blockchain network in comparison to both private and public blockchains. So that is Hyperledger Fabric and Quorum for the private networks, and Ethereum Sepolia for the public networks across the different smart contract functions. And as seen in these in the diagrams, pure chain was able to achieve a lower latency and high throughput, as well as a moderately low CPU usage as compared to others. This simulation was done for the 672 vehicles as achieved from the data simulation. The same smart contract was used across all the blockchain networks, and there were over 15,000 transactions. Performance of pure chain can be attributed to the presence of its standby validators that ensure uninterrupted consensus with time, and also the presence of the smart auto mining plus feature that prevents wasted computation. So once a soulbound token is minted, the soulbound token wallet contains just the metadata, that is just the token ID, the vehicle ID, and its address, as well as a token URI which points to the CID on the IPFS. So when this is accessed, it's able to show all the trust-related metadata that is for that specific vehicle. And also, to evaluate how many soulbound tokens were minted over time, the soulbound tokens minted over time kept reducing with increase in malicious ratio, and this just shows that only the vehicles that were eligible for receiving those specific tokens were rewarded. So the framework was able to reward accordingly just the honest vehicles. Additionally, since soulbound tokens are non-transferable, a non-transferable test was performed, and this reverts in case you try to transfer a soulbound token from one vehicle to another due to the feature of soulbound tokens. And then comparison with existing works was done according to the incentive mechanism, the consensus mechanism, latency, blockchain throughput, and if they considered the low tolerance, and also the average trust score. Different studies considered different maximum implemented malicious ratios. So ours was 80%, and the trust score of benign vehicles was about 0.822, which is higher than a lot of the other studies that even considered lower malicious ratios. And also it was important to note that many studies, even when they say that they use blockchain, they did not present their blockchain related performance. So it was a bit hard to make an evaluation in regards to that. So in conclusion, the key findings of this work was that the proposed framework ensured robust trust management with correct rewarding and penalization of vehicles depending on their evolving behavior patterns across varying malicious ratios. Also, it was important to consider continuous trust management in case of intermittent connectivity, which was done using the hash trust lock protocol that's proposed in this work. And this way, we're also able to mitigate any conflicting records and replay attacks. The proposed pure chain for decentralized tamper-proof trust management achieved higher throughput and latency compared to public and private blockchains. And the use of soul-bound tokens for reputation management prevents reputation manipulation, which is possible if the incentives are transferable. And then practical concerns and future directions. The use of soul-bound tokens lacks tangible utility, so it would be good to associate soul-bound tokens with tangible rewards that can actually be used, because in this work, let's say they are mainly for reputation. So it would be good to associate them to some other use to encourage more participation. Additionally, storage of data on the IPFS presents a challenge because it is exposed. So it would be important to incorporate encryption techniques to protect that data. Additionally, there is not possible network congestion during data synchronization in case all the vehicles have to synchronize their data on reconnection. So it is important to consider other concepts that may reduce verification load at the edge. And for this, we may need to consider an offline blockchain channel that will be secure and ensure that continuous data synchronization without overloading the edge node on reconnection. Thank you.
Could you back to the slide 10? Even you, even if you apply edge, the coordinator, it's edge computing, edge node, but that is very important in the ecosystem. Ecosystem uh, is one of the important things in the ecosystem is the real time property, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, the, the trust system is very important. I agree on your assumption, but your hypothesis, I agree. But how this system can solve that real-time property in this complex system?
Well, sorry.
If you include such a some performance evaluation on the real-time property, and then you can show that the simulation or performance evaluation result, and you can explain based on the data.
I understood the question.
I missed some kind of your evaluation or your
So the main should I say contribution about that considers the real time aspect of IOV, as well as the fact that it's dynamic consistently, is the trust model. That is why we incorporate the different vehicle behavior patterns. So the trust of a vehicle is going to be changing in real time. So the trust of a vehicle that, let's say, 30 seconds back may not be the same 30 seconds later. So that is why it is included in the trust model, as well as the maliciousness. So we penalize the vehicles depending on their consistent behavior in real time, as well as the age actually is also a very important feature, because it's going to penalize inactivity. So in case the vehicle is not consistently interacting, it gets penalized like that. So this combination of all these aspects, basically because of the vehicle behavior, is why it's important for the real time aspect of IOV.
Okay, Well, the creative explanation.
Okay.
More comprehensive way. We move to 80. 80. Okay. In the case of comparative study, some number of nodes seems like not fair.
Not fair.
I mean, some kind of we have to compare some kind of almost same level, but the chain for the sixth node, and other one is dynamic. But you have to justify is how can there depends in view of the number of nodes. Number of nodes is very critical index to compare. Okay, even if you're not quite consider comparing, try to compare. A little bit changes for planning.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes, Professor.
add your additional comment, explanation for me, and also you have to fix it. Not fair.
But
Not agree?
these are just, they're like, should I say standard? Like when I use Quorum or Hyperledger Fabric, they are just standard to the network. So I'm a bit not sure how each network has different number of
Because the
nodes.
network environment different, try to add the comment.
Okay.
How can balancing each environment. Okay?
I have one more comment for to continue. I will tell you later. And the title, we changed the delay, instead of delay tolerance, we use real time. Just as the title. You don't need to change the main contents. Just to change the title.
Delay tolerance is subset of the real time.
Okay.
So, good.
Thank you very much.